Good afternoon. The Senate Committee on Natural Resources will now come to order. Will our beautiful committee secretary please call the roll?
Chair Cruz Crawford.
Here.
Senator Scheibel.
Here.
Senator Bazzina.
Present.
Senator Hansen.
Here.
Senator Allison.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, 5 are present. We do have a quorum. Welcome to our audience here in Carson City and those attending on the phone lines. Today we have a few housekeeping items. Looks like we have a lot of regulars here, so I'll run through this quickly. When you are testifying, please turn your microphone on to speak and off to listen. If you have handouts for the committee, please provide 10 copies to the secretary. If you have any exhibits and amendments, please provide those electronically in PDF to our committee manager no later than 3:30 on the business day before the meeting. The committee information is available on Nellis, which can also be accessed through the legislature's website. And you can also watch our meeting on that website or our YouTube channel. We ask that public comments be kept to 2 minutes. Written public comments can be provided before, during, or up to 24 hours in adjournment of the meeting. Members of the public may provide testimony either in person or by telephone. And please mute your electronic devices, especially those cell phones. That will help us through. Today we're going to take the work session first, and then we're going to do the bill hearing afterwards because someone has to pick up their kid at the daycare, and after 5 p.m. they charge him $20 a minute. So we are going to be fiscally responsible here. Okay, so today we are going to be conducting a work session on 10 bills, Senate Bill 10, 19, 21, 31, 83, and 276. I would like to remind everyone that we will not be taking any testimony for the work session. However, I might call on someone as necessary to answer any questions given by the committee. Okay, so we're going to start the work session with Senate Bill 10, and our policy analyst Jennifer Rudy will be walking us through the work session. You may proceed when you're ready, Ms. Rudy.
Thank you, Chair Cruz Crawford. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. As nonpartisan staff for the legislature, I don't advocate for or oppose legislation. I'm just going to walk you through the bills and the amendments for consideration today, starting with Senate Bill 10 as announced by the chair. Senate Bill 10 changes certain reporting requirements for the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. Specifically, the bill changes the reporting requirement from quarterly to annually for the State Land Registrar of the Division of State Lands to report to the State Board of Examiners regarding lands or interests in land transferred, sold, exchanged, or leased in the Lake Tahoe Basin related to certain programs of the division. The bill repeals the requirement for the State Forest or Fire Warden of the Division of Forestry to report annually to certain governmental entities regarding fire prevention and forest health in the Nevada portion of the Lake Tahoe Basin. There are no amendments for consideration today.
Committee, are there any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to do pass Senate Bill 10.
So moved.
Senator Scheibel. I have a motion from Senator Scheibel. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second from Senator Bazzina. Are there any other motions? Or anyone like to discuss the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, I'll assign the floor statement to Senator Daly. And next, I'll move on to Senate Bill 19. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Cruz Crawford. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 19 ratifies the Great Plains Wildland Fire Protection Compact and the Northwest Wildland Fire Protection Agreement. The ratification of the compact and the agreement is effective upon declaration of the governor and the approval of Nevada's entry by the member states of each respective compact and agreement. There are no amendments for consideration.
Committee, do you have any questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to do pass Senate Bill 19.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion from Senator Hansen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Senator Scheibel. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. I will assign the floor statement to Senator Ellison. Next is Senate Bill 21. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 21 expands the authorized use of grants awarded from the Outdoor Education and Recreation Grant Program to include outdoor recreational infrastructure projects for pupils and programs, activities, and infrastructure projects that offer or include education regarding or support or improve access to outdoor recreation for the public. The bill also allows the administrator of the Division of State Parks to designate a person to serve on the advisory board on outdoor recreation in place of the administrator. There are no amendments.
Committee, is there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to do pass Senate Bill 21.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion from Senator Pazina and a second from Senator Scheibel. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, the motion does pass. I'll sign the floor statement to myself. And we'll move on to Senate Bill 31. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Cruz Crawford. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 31 excludes any federal agency that is a claimant of a vested water right from the requirement to file proof of the claim on or before December 31, 2027. The bill further allows a federal agency to file a vested water right claim after the 2027 filing deadline once the state engineer starts a new adjudication. There are no amendments included in the work session. Thank you.
Okay, committee, do you have any questions on Senate Bill 31? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to do pass Senate Bill 31.
So moved.
I have a motion by Senator Scheibel. Do you have a second?
Second.
And I have a second from Senator Pazina. Do we have any discussion? Yes, I will take Senator Hansen and Senator Ellison.
Thanks, Madam Chair. No, I've been going back and forth on this one. I went and reread all the minutes from the 2015 hearing when Senator Gokachia and Senator Settlemyre pushed that 2027 deadline into law, and talked to water rights attorneys, and anyway, I've been all over the board on this one. And I was going to originally vote yes with the reservation, but I've been talking to the Farm Bureau, and I think I'm going to vote no with reservations. What I think we're going to have to do at some point is go back and revisit that date and either extend it out or give the private sector vested water rights holders the exact same language that we're going to provide for the federal people, because we are definitely disadvantaging private people by giving them a very specific 2027 deadline. So anyway, I'm sorry to bring it up now. I probably should have brought up a proposed amendment a lot earlier, but I think there's some real serious issues. While I'm fine with the idea of extending it out for the feds or eliminating it, if we're going to do it for the feds, we should be doing it for everybody else in the state. Just so you know, too, Alexis and I purchased a 800-acre ranch. We didn't, in this 2021, I didn't even know I had vested water rights on it. The only reason I found out is we had dinner with Joe Guild, who's a water rights expert. I showed him some old maps, and he basically said, well, for heaven's sakes, you got a bunch of vested water rights in this. In the absence of that conversation with Joe, I, to this day, wouldn't know I had those vested water rights, and I wouldn't have met that 2027 deadline, and I suspect I'm not unique in that. So anyway, there are a lot of interesting moving parts on this, but I just wanted to explain my reasoning for voting no today.
Senator Ellison?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I agree to the same thing that Mr. Hansen said. Also, there was an issue on their own federal, so I too was a no from the beginning, so I had some issues, so thank you.
Senator Scheibel?
So I will be voting yes on SB 31, and I appreciate everybody who's come to me in opposition and with amendments, and I just think that this is the bill might be short, but the issue is not simple, and I don't think we really have much of a choice here. We have options, none of which are great, because here's the thing. We've already passed a law that requires water rights holders to seek adjudication of their water rights by 2027. If we're going to eliminate that deadline, which is one option, then we go back to square one where we were back in 2011 or so before we passed anything. And the state engineer has no end in sight to adjudication of water rights, and we will continue to live in limbo forever. There will be no way to finalize the adjudication of rights in Nevada. It's already going to be a 30 to 40 year process. You remove the deadline and it becomes a literal infinite process. And I don't think that's good for water rights holders in Nevada. The other alternative is that you don't pass the bill, you leave the current deadline in place, and then you end up in a situation that I don't think any of us want to be in, where the federal government will still be able to get their water rights adjudicated, even if we don't want them to. I think what's being lost in the conversation is that some of this is out of our control, that we cannot tell the federal government what to do. As much as we would like to, we can't. And if we thought that maybe we could, there was precedent from the Oregon case that told us that we can't. And even still, those of us who held out hope that maybe we were different, I sought a legal opinion from LCB who confirmed that our statutory scheme is similar enough to Oregon's, that it is the official opinion of the Legislative Counsel Bureau, our attorneys. I didn't talk to just any attorneys. I didn't just get some opinions from some people that I like or trust or know or, depend on. I went to our attorney, which is what we're supposed to do in the legislature. And our attorney advised me that we are in trouble. We are looking at the same fate as Oregon, who was unable to bring the federal government into court to adjudicate their water rights after the deadline had passed. So that leaves us with one final choice, which is to pass SB 31 as it is written in order to have the ability to bring the federal government into court after the passage of the deadline. And so because really that's what all the amendments amount to. All the amendments amount to lifting the deadline requirement for private vested water rights holders. And so those are our three options. Our three options are lift the deadline for everybody and live in limbo, kill the bill, and then all of the vested water rights holders have to file their claims by 2027. I don't know what people think is going to happen. They think that we're going to fight the federal government and win, and they're not going to be able to come into court and still assert their water rights. They're going to be able to. I talked to our attorney about it. So that's option number 2. Or option number 3 is pass the bill, leave the pathway open to continue to adjudicate federal water rights after the deadline has closed, and give the state engineer the highest level of certainty possible for adjudicating water rights following the end or, through the end of the 2027 deadline. And that's just the best option available to us because those are our 3 options. And so that's why, I'm going to vote to pass SB 31 today, and I'll continue to, have this conversation with the rest of our body, with, our friends over in the other house, because I don't like it any more than anybody else does, but I just don't think that there's a better decision out there. So we're going to make the best decision that we can and pass SB 31.
Thank you so much. I appreciate committee, and I'd like to echo, this is a very difficult decision, and being an elected official is never easy, right? There's never any clear black and white. And I started thinking about David and Goliath and how I did run for office to be the David, but this is really something that a tough decision that needs to be made. But I wanted to thank those people that came up with the amendments, and know that I still want to continue this conversation, still have mutual trust and respect, so that we can continue to move forward on this. So we are going to, since there's no more questions, I'm going to entertain a motion. Oh wait, we already did. We had the discussion. Just kidding. All those in favor say aye. 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 All those opposed say nay.
Yay.
Okay, this motion carries. And I will assign the floor statement to Senator Scheibel.
What?
That's the prize you get. Next is Senate Bill 83. Ms. Rudy, you may proceed.
Thank you, Chair Cruz Crawford. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 83 requires the State Board of Finance to issue no more than $19 million in general obligation bonds to fund certain environmental improvement projects included in the second phase of the Environmental Improvement Program for the Lake Tahoe Basin. The bill also allows the use of interest accrued on the proceeds of previously issued bonds to carry out such projects. However, at the bill hearing, the Division of State Lands brought forward the attached amendment that is in the work session document to reduce the bond authority from $19 million to $10.5 million. So there is an amendment on this bill. Thank you.
Committee, do we have any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and do pass Senate Bill 83.
So moved.
I have a motion from Senator Scheibel,
Second.
and I have a second from Senator Pizzina. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, motion carries. I'll assign the floor statement to Senator Pizzina. Okay, next we have the last work session item today. It's Senate Bill 276. Ms. Rudy, please proceed.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. This is Jennifer Rudy, Committee Policy Analyst. Senate Bill 276 has an amendment that is actually uploaded on Nellis because it was just received not very long before this meeting started. And so the amendment that is in the work session document, I just want to make very, very clear, is not the one that is up for consideration today. It is one that is up on Nellis, and it was provided by Will Adler. It's for Senate Bill 276, so hopefully everybody can find that. It is removing most of the sections of the bill. So rather than read the summary of the bill, I will note that it is removing all the sections of the bill except for sections 1 and 3. And section 3 is revised so that in the event of an incident resulting in sewage, industrial waste, or any other unauthorized discharge into the waters of the state under certain circumstances, any city, county, unincorporated town, district, or water authority, and that is adding in this amendment general improvement district, wastewater agency, and water district to those who must report to the Division of Environmental Protection, NDEP, and when applicable, the division shall notify in accordance with the provision. Chapter 233A is related to communications with Indian tribes. Let's see. So really just leaving this one section 3.1.2.3 and adding language. It's not meant to interfere with attorney-client privileges in any way, shape, or form. That's really all that is left of the bill. If there are any questions, it is an amend and do pass because it is an amendment.
Senator Scheibel?
I do have a question. In section 3, it still utilizes the same language as like an incident resulting in the discharge of sewage, industrial waste, or any other unauthorized discharge. And one of the concerns I have heard is that how do we distinguish between what rises to the level of reporting versus, an incidental, dropped something in the lake, and does everybody need to call the health district, if they accidentally, let a cleaning supply fall over the edge of their boat on Lake Tahoe, right? So I'm guessing there are other regulations outlined for the health department or definitions somewhere. I just want to make sure that there are some guidelines to differentiate between like dropping a bottle of 409 in the lake versus actually dumping like gallons and gallons of toxic materials.
Madam Chair, it's my bill. It was negotiated literally today between Will Adler, Jennifer Carr of NDEP. Would either of you two like to come up and, because her point obviously is, yeah, how big of a spill is required before you have to file these formal notices?
Will Adler, for the record, with Silver State Government Relations, representing the Pyramid Lake Paiute Tribe today. Thank you all for having us here today and having this amendment, as Ms. Carr would agree with me, to SB 276 in front of you all. And to be very clear, we did come to this as a collaborative agreement to try and minimize what would be new impacts to current divisions and state agencies that would receive these reports. And then simply just referencing the online resources that are already there for telephonic and online messaging. There is a spill report page, and the intent is that cities, governments, governmental entities will use that same page that's already used today. And then the only furtherance of that information would be for Native American tribes directly impacted. The division could do a little bit of extra information around that, but there is a pretty good resource up there that we want to utilize, and we don't want to recreate the wheel here. And then just to be extra clear, I removed all the other sections of the bill other than section 3, but I do think some of those do have to be added back in as implications of they need to be referenced as well, but some were for section 2 and some were for section 3, and I wasn't sure which. So I do think some of those additional just citing sections will have to be reintroduced. I just want to make sure everyone's looking at section 3. That's really the meat and potatoes, what we're trying to change and do in this amended amendment. Thank you very much. And Ms. Carr.
Can I would just like to take a moment and have our council chime in about those.
Erin Sturdivant, Legislative Council Bureau. As noted, you can't amend out conforming changes, so to the extent that there are clumping references to section 2, 3, or 4 of this act, they'll be revised to just refer to section 3, but they will still remain in the bill.
Okay, I don't know, Madam Chair, if that answered the question, though maybe Jennifer Carr can address that. When, okay.
It did answer my question.
Oh, it did?
That's all I was looking for, was there's some guidance, there's a spill report that I'm sure explains what it's supposed to be used for, and so I'm no longer worried about the incidental, trash blown off the back of a pickup and landing in the Truckee River.
Some guy spilling
Don't let
his
your trash
holding
fall in the
tank on
Truckee
his-
River.
Okay,
Don't do that.
all right,
That breaks a different law, but
okay.
I'm
then
satisfied.
I withdraw
Happy
my
to
question.
continue to support the bill.
Okay. Perfect. And I did want to clarify, you were referencing the health district. That's not the reporting source. It's the Environmental Protection Agency. Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, we're on discussion part.
Questions?
We're doing the questions. Okay, perfect. Any more questions from the committee? Okay, perfect. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to amend and do pass Senate Bill 276.
So moved.
Second.
I'm gonna give this, the motion to the first to Senator Scheibel, and I got a second from Senator Hansen, because is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor say nay. Okay, I am going to those in favor, say nay. Sorry, I got really excited because I wanted to be fair, so I gave you the first, because Senator Hansen, you get the floor statement. Okay, perfect. Thank you, committee members. We'll now move to our bill hearing. I'll give our presenters a moment to get settled here. Okay, we are now ready to begin our bill hearing. I'll open the bill hearing for Senate Bill 426. This is a measure making various changes relating to Tahoe Regional Planning Compact. With bill presenters today, we have Senator Daley, Julie Reagan, and James Marino. Thank you for coming to the table. We have allotted 15 minutes, and we do use our timer. You get bonus points for ending prior to the 15 minutes. All points are made up and arbitrary. You may begin when you are ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Skip Daly for the record, representing Senate District 13. Can we buy ice cream with the points? Oh, I'm just kidding. So we're no longer amending the bi-state compact with this bill. So basically, all of that is being taken out. The element that's left, and I'm going to allow Julie and them to go through that part of it, is talking about the parking corridor. If you've ever been up to the lake, you see all the cars parked on the shoulder and various things. It's all illegal parking. There's no place else for them to park, so if we can get someone to write a ticket, a lot of times when those people go to court, they say, where else was I supposed to go? So we've had that issue, chicken and the egg type of issue. So we had several things. At least one of our senators was my partner in crime on the interim committee. Probably going to bring back nightmares from some of that from the deal. My understanding is that the portion of the bill that we have now that's addressing parking is similar or was taken from another section of law for a similar parking type interlocal agreement from the Red Rock area in southern Nevada. So we've worked the best we can with TRPA. We'll have to get with legal if there's any errors in what we have. We need to get those fixed, and we got to do it quickly. But I think we're in pretty good shape. That's some of the background, trying to address the parking and the transit issues, funding for parking, funding for transit. Currently, there are a few parking lots, and they can charge for that. We need to help develop and get in a position to develop the parking lots and then start to change the behavior by writing tickets. To the other side, law enforcement, my understanding, they can still write tickets, but they just don't have the resources to do it. So this would be an agreement with the Tahoe Transportation District, which exists now, would be able to take over some of the ticket writing and enforcement side of it and use that revenue then for parking and transit. With that, I'll let Julie and her cohort go.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Good afternoon, Chair Cruz Crawford, Vice Chair Scheibel, committee members, staff, and the public. For the record, I am Julie Reagan, and my last name is spelled R-E-G-A-N. I'm the Executive Director of the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. And joining me today is James Marino, District Director for the Tahoe Transportation District. I'd really like to thank Senator Daley for his leadership in introducing the item today on the hearing, SB 426. As the Senator mentioned, this bill has changed in regard to Article 9 of the Bi-State Compact, and we've submitted some friendly amendments, which are before you, that maintain important tools in the toolbox to manage those recreational impacts at Tahoe, like illegal parking and public safety. And as the Senator mentioned, any of you that have traveled to Tahoe in the peak summer months know exactly the need for additional action in this corridor. I'd like to give you just a little bit of context before I turn it over to Mr. Marino, who'll provide you more detail about the amendments and the proposed bill. One of the priorities we are most frequently asked by the public to address is traffic, illegal parking, safety at Tahoe's popular recreation areas, in addition to Highway 28. And while TRPA, our organization, Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, does not have public safety powers, we are pleased to support our partners here today on these crucial issues. We do, however, serve as what's called the Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO, for the Tahoe region, and that's a special designation by the Congress. As part of this responsibility, we develop and adopt a regional transportation plan that guides overall the vision and goals and policies in transportation for the region. Our transportation plan includes reducing traffic and congestion to increase safety and the quality recreation experience, but to date we've had a lot of challenge in that area. Relevant to today's discussion is Lake Tahoe's East Shore, which follows Nevada State Route 28, includes the popular state park, Sand Harbor, and Spooner Lake as well. This is a beloved area of the state of Nevada, and I'd particularly like to thank my members of my 15-member governing board who have been fighting for more attention in this area, particularly our 7 Nevada delegates, and the Secretary of State, Francisco Aguilar, serves on our governing board. He's even made his own T-shirts that say SR 28 and has attended our governing board meetings to bring more attention to this matter. So I really do want to thank our board for their leadership in presenting you these ideas today. Additional context, in 2014, TRPA, the Tahoe Transportation District, and many partners developed a corridor management plan framework for the entire basin, and that includes 6 distinct corridors, Highway 28 being one. The first corridor management plan for the state of Nevada was 28. To date, our plan has resulted in the construction of the East Shore Trail from Incline Village to Sand Harbor State Park. The trail was not just a trail, it also included the removal of dangerous and illegal roadside parking, transit from Incline to Sand Harbor during the peak summer months, improved roadway safety in that 3-mile stretch, stormwater management to protect the water quality of the lake and to prevent erosion. Additional projects to extend the trail, parking management, safety, transit, and stormwater treatment will be implemented from Sand Harbor to Spooner Summit over the next several years. The goal of these transportation and recreation improvements is not necessarily to attract more visitors to Tahoe. The goal, however, is to manage the visitation that's already happening today in the area and improve safety and protection of the lake. I will now turn it over to Jim Marino, who will walk you through the amendments and provide more context of why this is so important, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Julie. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. For the record, my name is Jim Marino, M-A-R-I-N-O, and I'm the Executive Director of the Tahoe Transportation District, or TTD for short. TTD was created via Article 9 of the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency's Bi-State Compact. And generally, we are responsible for facilitating, planning, and implementing transportation projects introduced within the Lake Tahoe Regional Transportation Plan, as well as providing public transit operations and services in both Nevada and California. Over the last several years, and in partnership with over 13 different agencies along the SR 28 and 431 corridors, TTD has taken the lead in development and implementation of multiple transportation projects specified in those recreation corridors and specified in the corridor management plan that Ms. Reagan had referenced. Today, we are in the design phase for several large-scale projects that will construct off-highway parking, incorporating public transit facilities, pedestrian crosswalks, multi-use paths, and on-highway vista points located primarily within U.S. Forest Service lands and NDOT rights-of-way. This will occur in the next several years. The Tahoe Transportation District is in support of the amendments to SB 426 before you today. These amendments would provide local law enforcement, local jurisdictions, the state of Nevada, and the Tahoe Transportation District additional parking management and enforcement tools to increase safety, reduce congestion, and protect Lake Tahoe along the State Route 28, State Route 431, State Route 207, and U.S. Highway 50 corridors. Very briefly, the amendments, I believe you have all received the amendments. Before you today, Section 1 of the amendment to SB 426 would designate Nevada's SR 28, SR 431, SR 207, and US 50 corridors as Lake Tahoe Basin Scenic Byway Corridor Recreation Safety Zones. Section 2 of the amendments generally provides Nevada Department of Transportation, local law enforcement, public safety jurisdictions, local agencies, and the Tahoe Transportation District options to better manage the recreation corridors with best practices intended to increase motorist and pedestrian safety within the recreation corridors themselves. Fines collected within the safety zones are proposed to stay within the zone to help pay for enforcement. Section 2A relates to options to provide physical barriers or other mechanisms to block shoulder parking where public safety is a concern. This is important because our experience tells us and has shown us that the public will willingly ignore no parking signs no matter how dangerous the parking space on the highway shoulder may be. We see this year in and year out on SR 28. In many cases, physically blocking or removing shoulder parking is the only way to prevent unsafe parking and pedestrian travel within the segments of the recreation corridor. Section 2B relates to the construction and management of off-highway parking lots, public transit stops, and access trails to recreation. These lots provide safe parking spaces for vehicles and provide accessibility to trailheads without walking down the highway. The proposed lots are built to offset parking being removed from the highways themselves, not build additional parking, thus challenging capacity in the corridor. The section also allows local law enforcement and state to partner with the Tahoe Transportation District to charge for and manage the off-highway parking lots. Revenue from the paid parking shall be reinvested into site-specific maintenance and enhancements of transportation and public transit options within the corridor. The remainder of Section 2B discusses qualifications provided to the staff operating the parking areas to ensure that management is done fairly and by trained staff and not contracted to private third-party contractors. In closing, I think we get a couple points here, Senator Cruz Crawford. In closing, I would like to mention that Tahoe Transportation District will be proposing a similar bill request at the next session of the California Legislature. It is our goal to have safe, accessible recreation corridors in both Nevada and California. And with that, I will end my presentation and turn it back to the chair and be happy to discuss any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. You have 3 minutes and 42 seconds. We do have a question from Senator Ellison.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Got a couple little ones. Is NDOT gonna do the construction or it'll go out to bid? You know, how are you gonna handle this?
Thank you, Senator Ellison. For the record, Jim Marino, Tahoe Transportation District. There's a combination of efforts along the way. Tahoe Transportation District is leading the construction, planning and construction and design of all outside of right-of-way projects. NDOT is leading and planning construction elements within the state right-of-way, so it's a combined effort. It's a partnering effort.
Thank you. I think that's important to know, you know, who's gonna be doing what. And I've been saying for a long time, they need to cut them shoulders back to where they can get parking in there. But they're, Madam Chair, I really like this for a daily bill. If everybody looks at the red, you know, Skip, can you do that more often? It's, no, thank you. I know you did a lot of work on this and I appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
just one follow-up if I can, Madam Chair, Skip Daly again for the record. So DOT and TTD are both public bodies, so the labor issues are covered. They do have to follow prevailing wage, do the bidding, and do all of that type of stuff as well. One of the requirements I made them put in, no vendors. They have to be TTD employees that are gonna be doing this enforcement and all of that kind of stuff. I didn't wanna have any profit element on writing tickets or any of that kind of stuff as well. And the compact is not being amended because California did not put in, both states have to put in a matching amendment. We're very close, so that didn't get introduced in California, so I didn't see really any reason to move forward with it at this time in Nevada, so.
Thank you, Senator Daly. And I wouldn't think anything less with the prevailing wage, so we appreciate that. Anything else from the committee? Okay, great. So now we're going to take testimony, so if you'll take a seat back. We are now going to be taking testimony in support of Senate Bill 426. Anyone here in Carson that would like to provide testimony in support, please come forward, state your name, and you have a max of 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Andrea Corral with Pinion Public Affairs, here on behalf of the League to Save Lake Tahoe. The League is in support of SB 426 because we believe that parking management is a critical part of an effective transportation system in the Tahoe Basin. It can enhance public safety, reduce traffic congestion, as well as cut down on pollution that threatens Lake Tahoe's clarity. Since 1957, the League has worked to protect the fragile alpine environment. One of the ways we do that is by advocating for smart transportation solutions that benefit residents, visitors, and the lake itself. Traffic and roadway runoff are major threats to Tahoe's famed clarity, and we believe SB 426 is a step towards addressing those challenges. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Amanda Brazo-Nolting on behalf of Row Law Group, here also on behalf of Travel North Tahoe, Nevada. Travel North Tahoe supports SB 426 as amended. The establishment of the Lake Tahoe Basin Scenic Byway Corridor will help provide the Tahoe Transportation District with the tools needed to manage Tahoe's recreation located on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe by providing safe access for residents, commuting workforce, and visitors alike. Thank you.
AVH, do we have anyone on the line that would like to provide support for Senate Bill 426?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 426, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue. Chair, the public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide opposition testimony for Senate Bill 426? Go ahead and state your name. 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ellie Waller. SB 426 is imposing a transit surcharge on per-night rental of transient lodging. Permissible uses of this is establishing Lake Tahoe Basin Scenic Byway and Corridor. State Route 28 is a disaster zone for us that travel to and from the valley from US 50 to Incline Village. Removing parking along State Route 28 roadside is the only way to create a safety zone. The bill also authorizes any Board of County Commissioners to utilize any publicly funded property or right-of-way in the Tahoe Basin to construct, acquire, install, equip, maintain, operate, and regulate these facilities. The proceeds of the fees for this use specifically to State Route 28 in Nevada and California to connected regional trails create what I'm calling bringing parking to these trailheads, defeating that purpose. Many residents attended previous sessions in hopes of imparting a sensible understanding of overcapacity that currently exists that does not get addressed. Furthermore, many attended, provided testimony, submitted written public comments during the interim session of the TRPA Oversight Committee. I went to most of those meetings. The recommendations that came forward from that committee didn't proffer a singular recommendation that reaffirms why TRPA was formed specifically for the preservation, protection, and restoration of Lake Tahoe. Instead, I believe, and many others do, that throwing good money at bad at a failed basin-wide transportation system and now SB 426 adding even more parking brings more people. There are too many agencies wasting local, state, and federal funds. I was glad to see the 4 pages that were brought forward today as amendments, but most people have not read them. There are some good things in there, but again, bringing more people to the basin is defeating safety. Thank you.
AVH, is there anyone on the line that would like to give testimony in opposition of Senate Bill 426?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 426, please press star 9 now on your phone to take your place in the queue.
Hello, can you hear me? This is Elizabeth Bernard, Depot Cove resident.
But again, bringing more people to the basin.
Hello?
Safety.
Go ahead, you may proceed.
Hello. Hello, my name is Elizabeth Learnhardt. I'm a Zephyr Cove resident. And I see the traffic congestion and parking problems daily, particularly in summer in front of our road along Highway 50. This bill does not solve it. Instead, it gives TRPA and its affiliated agencies like the TTD and the counties the right to tax us via fees. It is mandated by Article 9 of the Bi-State Compact. All taxes have to be approved by the voters of both states. This bill and SB 420 gives the agencies the right to avoid public approval. Although well-intended, this bill does little besides giving more money and power to agencies that have failed their missions in the past. I urge you to vote no on this unauthorized tax. Thank you for your attention. I see traffic congestion and parking.
AVH, is there anyone else on the line for opposition for Senate Bill 426?
So, Chair, the line is public and open. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you. We'll now be moving to neutral testimony. Is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to provide testimony neutral?
Good afternoon, Chair Cruz Crawford, members of the committee. For the record, I'm Michael Alonso here on behalf of Caesars Entertainment. Caesars Entertainment owns and operates Harvey's and Harrah's up at the state line, and we're testifying neutral on SB 426 as amended. I want to thank Senator Daley and the proponents for all the work that they did on this bill, especially the amendments. And my client's reviewing the bill, and we're hoping to get the support. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for keeping the lights on. We will, okay. We will invite our, oh wait, AVH, is there anyone that would like to testify in neutral for Senate Bill 426?
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Great. I'd like to invite the sponsor back to give any closing statements. And we do have a question from Senator Pizzina.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
Senator Pizzina has a question.
Oh.
And thank you so much for the presentation. I really enjoyed it, and it's always good to see you here. I'm just confirming with the amendment. My understanding is that the transit surcharge on the per-night rental of transient lounge goes away, correct?
Skip Daly, for the record, yes, that's correct, because that was not introduced on the California side. It doesn't do any good for us to do it on Nevada only. Just by way of some history there, the idea behind doing that, in South Lake Tahoe in the city, they have a similar charge already on their room tax. Douglas County actually imposed it to finance the Tahoe Blue Event Center. So those rooms are already paying it. In the draft that we had, there would have been exemptions for those two jurisdictions, but it would have had the room charge for all other nights. But that's currently gone. May not be dead forever, but it's currently gone.
Thank you. I just wanted to get that on the record because I know there was some question. Thank you.
Go ahead for closing
Yep,
statements.
thank you, and just Skip Daly again for the record, Madam Chair, thank you. Like I said, all of the stuff on the compact and the room charge and all that stuff is no longer in the bill. We are trying to address the traffic issue, the parking issue, all of the things that the people from Lake Tahoe that came up to the interim committee repeatedly said, this is a problem, we need to fix it. If people are not happy with the way we're trying to go about that, at least we're trying to do something similar with the bill we have in another committee that's aimed at the same type of a thing. It's either this or there's nothing. So I think we need to try to make the effort, move forward. I hope to work with legal, make sure we got this language right. It was put together with the help from the Tahoe Transportation District and some of their people, but they're not the legal drafters, so we're going to work to get it correct before the deadline. That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll now close the hearing on Senate Bill 426, and we'll move to our last item, which is public comment. If there's anyone that would like to provide public comment on anything pertaining to natural resources, go ahead and approach now. Okay, AVH, is there anyone on the line that would like to provide public comment?
Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Okay. Seeing no public comment, this concludes our meeting. Our next meeting will be Thursday, April 10th, and this meeting is adjourned. I hope everybody has a great day.